Good morning, friends. Generally, what happens that the schools and colleges do not pay attention on communication skills. Many of these students, just they say that when in the schools the textbooks are taught and the grammar book is just introduced. इस तरह से बच्चे का जो सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर है वो कहाँ से मजबूत होगा. You can't really expect your children to really be fluent in English. So starting with the very basic things, that every sentence has four important parts: subject and predicate. These are two parts. Predicate consists of verb, object, and any other word which completes the sense of the sentence. So a sentence is a group of words having subject and predicate. Subject is the one which is doing the action or about whom we talk generally. If a sentence is there that the delegates are preparing to discuss the global issues. So here, if you ask who are discussing the global issues, are preparing to discuss, the answer is the delegates. So the subject is delegates. So question has to be asked with who or what. और उसके बाद सब्जेक्ट को छोड़ करके बाकी सभी प्रेडिकेट हैं. Are preparing to discuss the global issue. The entire part of the sentence leaving behind the subject is predicate. So a predicate must consist of a finite verb, an object, or any other phrase, or any other word which completes the sense. Now, when the children of class 3, 4, 5 starts understanding and identifying subject and predicate, they start learning the sentence structure. Then they will just move on to different types of sentence. Sometimes they will speak a statement, like if you say that India is a democratic country, it is a statement. It is having a subject and a predicate, and it is simply in affirmative form. Then if we ask the same statement, is India a democratic country, it is a question. तो ये क्वेश्चन हो जाता है. जब वही हम एक्सिलरीज को बाहर करके क्वेश्चन बनाते हैं तो ये एलिमेंट्री क्वेश्चन हो जाएगा. इज इंडिया अ डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री. हमने कहा इंडिया इज अ डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री, ये एक स्टेटमेंट है, और उसी को क्वेश्चन के रूप में क्या बोलेंगे, इज इंडिया अ डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री. He often believes in religious values. Now, does he really believe in religious values? Then this is again interrogative questions. So now a statement can be positive, can be negative, can be interrogative. So the sentence can be a statement, it can be a question, interrogative. It can be a kind of instruction, or a kind of order, that is imperative. It can be a request also. जैसे आपको कहा जाए कि प्लीज सिट डाउन, तो यहाँ पर सिंपल है कि आपके बारे में कहा जाता है यू प्लीज सिट डाउन. सब्जेक्ट यू हो गया और सिट डाउन, प्लीज सिट डाउन इज द प्रेडिकेट. सो what happens, that sentence can be either a statement or a question, interrogative. It can be imperative, either an order, an instruction, a request, an advice, or any form of prevention, or threat, or a kind of warning. It all comes under imperative sentence. And then comes the sentence that is exclamatory. Suppose you say that the rose is a beautiful flower. The same thing can be said in exclamatory. What a beautiful flower the rose is! Exclamation sign. So the sentences can be divided into four important parts. Sentences can be a statement, it can be a question, it can be an imperative, or it can be exclamatory sentence. Now moving on, when you start making interaction with your children, you find that sometimes they commit mistake in certain structures. Like if you say that, अब अगर आप हिंदी में उससे बोलें, यदि बाबू तुम मेहनत करोगे तो तुम्हारा परफॉर्मेंस इम्प्रूव करेगा, तो बच्चे को ये समझ में नहीं आता है कि दो फ्यूचर टेंस एक साथ नहीं होगा. तो वो क्या बोलेगा, इफ I will work, my performance will improve। दो फ्यूचर एक साथ होता नहीं है, वो लगा दिया। दिस इज ओनली बिकॉज उसको ये नहीं पता है कि सीक्वेंस ऑफ जो टेंस है उसमें दो इंटरडिपेंडेंट एक्शंस जो होता है, तो एक सिंपल प्रेजेंट में होगा, दूसरा सिंपल फ्यूचर में होगा, या दोनों सिंपल प्रेजेंट में होगा। देखिए सेंटेंस की सुंदरता, ब्यूटी। इफ द चाइल्ड वर्क्स हार्ड, हिज परफॉर्मेंस विल इम्प्रूव। इसी को आप ऐसे भी बोल सकते हैं, अगर आप फ्यूचर नहीं डालना चाहते हैं। इफ द चाइल्ड वर्क्स हार्ड, his performance gets improved। See, both these sentences are similar. Both the clauses are interdependent. But the beauty of the second sentence is that you have not used future tense, you have used two simple present। Like if you आप कहना चाहते हैं कि यदि आप पहाड़ियों में जाएंगे तो वहाँ बर्फ का सामना करना पड़ेगा। If you go to the hilly mountainous areas, you will face ice fall and snowfall. You will have to face snowfall. The same thing you can say that whenever we go to the hilly areas or mountainous areas, we face the snow falling or the ice falling. So this both the sentences have the same beauty. That means if if there are two interdependent actions, they can be either put in present followed by present, or simple present followed by simple future. Like if you switch on the light, the room will get lightened. So here also we are talking about two interdependent sentences. Now coming back to simple present and simple past. Sometimes what happens that we express past actions using would. Like when I was at Mumbai, I would play cricket. Now, when I was at Mumbai is in past tense. Therefore, we are using the second clause with subject plus would plus V1. When Mahatma Gandhi was at Champaran, he would talk to the farmers over there. So, here would is making a sense of past action along with was. Like in they lived in Maharashtra, they would often travel by local train. When they lived in Maharashtra, they would often travel by local train. So past tense can be used in V2 form also, it can be used with would also. See, if I were there, यदि मैं वहाँ होता, I would do that, मैं ये करता। तो that is again a kind of possibility of past, or an action which you would have done in the past. Similarly, two sequence of tenses in the sense when two actions are happening at the same time in the past। यदि दो एक्शन पास्ट में आप एक साथ कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं और एक ही समय हो रहा है, जैसे while you were boarding the aeroplane, the warning bell rang। दोनों चीज एक ही साथ हो रहा है, कुछ टेक्निकल गड़बड़ी के कारण वार्निंग बेल बजा। तो while you were boarding the aeroplane, जब आप एरोप्लेन में चढ़ रहे थे, the warning bell rang or there was an alarm। So when you are using simple past, you can use past continuous together। Like while she was studying, the light went off। जब वो पढ़ रही थी तो लाइट चला गया। ये दोनों एक्शन एक ही साथ हो रहा है, इसलिए एक्सप्रेशंस में सिंपल पास्ट और पास्ट कंटिन्यूअस को साथ में। जैसे while the American president was negotiating with the Iranian counterpart, some some disputive talk came in between, or while the negotiation between US and Iran was going on, someone interrupted. Both the actions, simple past action and past continuous, were going at the same time. So when you are performing two actions in the past at the same time, simultaneously, one will be in past simple, another will be in past continuous. Like while I was getting into the train, my my foot got slipped. It is simple past. While I was getting into the train, it is past continuous. Similarly, future sometimes future perfect tense can also be used along with simple present. Like जब तक मैं घर पहुंचूंगा ट्रेन दूसरा स्टेशन पहुंच चुकी होगी. By the time I reach my home, that is simple present, the train would have reached the next station. So one another the second sentence is in future perfect. Subject plus have will, subject plus will plus has have only have, subject plus will shall plus have plus v3 plus subject plus complement. Like by the time you pass class 10, your sister will have passed class 12. Will have passed, that is future perfect. By the time you pass class 10. So the children must be exposed to these kinds of a structure. Then only they will be able to speak fluently and they will be able to write correctly. See, speaking correctly depends entirely on your concept of sentence structure, using certain words and phrases. Like sometimes we always say, who will bail the cat? See, बिल्ली के गले में घंटी कौन बांधेगा? इसका मतलब ये नहीं हुआ बिल्ली के गले में घंटी बांधेगी. दिस इज ए फ्रेज कि कौन शुरुआत करेगा, हु विल इनिशिएट दिस, आई मीन इशू. इफ देर इज ए कॉम्प्लेक्स इशू, सभी लोग एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि वो स्टार्ट करेंगे, तो उसमें हम लोग यूज करते हैं हु विल बेल द कैट. सो हियर इट डजेंट मैटर दिस बिल्ली के गले में घंटा बांधना. यहाँ ये हुआ कि हु विल इनिशिएट द मैटर. Phrases, proverb always make a sense, or use of more and more phrases, more and more proverb decorate your language. Like we say always that well begun is half done. हमेशा आप इस तरह के phrases यूज करते हैं कि अगर किसी काम की शुरुआत अच्छी से हो तो आधा काम तो वही हो जाता है. Well begun is half done. Yes. Then there are other, I mean, simple phrases that there is no substitute for hard work. Labor never goes in vain. कितना अच्छा है, मेहनत कभी बेकार नहीं जाता है. Labor never goes in vain. Silence is golden, speech is silver. कम जो बोलता है वो बहुत अच्छा बोलता है, शुद्ध बोलता है. जो ज़्यादा बोलता है उसमें गलतियां होने की ज़्यादा चांस. दैट इज वाई वी हैव ऑलवेज कोटेड साइलेंस इज गोल्डन, स्पीच इज सिल्वर. तो इस तरह से सेंटेंस को हमेशा समझ करके बच्चों में ये आदत डालनी चाहिए. दे शुड लर्न टू स्पीक प्रोवर्ब्स, phrases. No, as a matter of fact, वास्तव में you are a very sincere person. आप वास्तव में एक sincere person हैं. In fact this matter is of greater importance. वास्तव में यह जो फैक्ट है वो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है या काम का चीज है. तो हम बच्चों को ये हमेशा आदत डालें कि बच्चे हमेशा सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर को बढ़िया से समझें, क्योंकि उनको साइंस भी इंग्लिश में लिखना है, सोशल साइंस भी इंग्लिश में लिखना है. और कम्युनिकेशन स्किल जब तक उनका डेवलप नहीं होगा तब तक उनके परफॉर्मेंस आप एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते अच्छा, बिकॉज दे हैव टू राइट द आंसर करेक्टली, ग्रामेटिकली करेक्ट. बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जैसे क्लास 11 में भी चले गए हैं, तो जैसे छोटा छोटा क्वेश्चन उनसे पूछा जाता है. जैसे द पोर्ट्रेट ऑफ द लेडी में एक क्वेश्चन है ग्रैंड मदर के बारे में कि द ग्रैंड मदर वॉज नॉट हैप्पी विद द इंग्लिश स्कूल, वाई. दिस अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन. बच्चे लिखना शुरू करते हैं तो जैसे लगता है कि पूरा पैराग्राफ उतार दिए. द ग्रैंड मदर when she lived in the village, she used to go along with her grandchild, and she used to sit there in the temple and read scriptures. She always helped the narrator doing his homework. She often, I mean, helped her grandchild understand the religious facts, because there was a teaching of religion at village. But when they were transferred to the city, they got, I mean, the narrator got admitted in an English school where there was no teaching of religion. So the grandmother was very unhappy because she believed that education without religion education without religious ideas or about talk about God. Religion where there is no discussion about God is not education. So education primarily in the opinion of the grandmother was talking of God along with subject matter. And that is the reason why should not have. अब इतना लिख दिया बच्चा, जबकि एक उसको देखिए, ये होता है सेंटेंस की ब्यूटी। वो दो सेंटेंस में भी लिख सकता था यदि उसकी स्ट्रक्चर अच्छी होती। कि अनलाइक से देख कितना सुंदर वर्ड है, अनलाइक द विलेज द ग्रैंड मदर कुड नॉट accompany the narrator to his school because he often went in a motor car. Second thing, that the English school always emphasized learning of science and English, and there was no teaching of religion. This made the grandmother unhappy and dejected over this sentence. Unlike, देखिए एक छोटा सा वर्ड, अनलाइक द विलेज, मतलब जहाँ विलेज में जो होता था उस तरह का काम सिटी में नहीं होता। अनलाइक द विलेज, द सिटी स्कूल डिड नॉट हैव any teaching of religion and God. Mainly, there was emphasis on teaching of Western language and Western science, which she disliked because she just thought that any teaching without the religion or about God is not teaching, not an education. That's all. This made the grandmother unhappy. अब पूरा पैराग्राफ बच्चा लिख दिया, पूरा एक पैराग्राफ, लेकिन एक सेंटेंस अच्छा सा लिखा। Unlike the village, the grandmother could not help her grandchild do the homework because everything was taught in English and there was more emphasis on teaching of science and Western language. There was no teaching of God. This made the grandmother upset and sad about the new school. This is the reason why she did not like the new school. हो गया। अब इतना सा लिखने के बजाय 11th क्लास का भी बच्चा पूरा स्टोरी लिखना शुरू कर दिया। दैट वाइल द चाइल्ड वाज इन विलेज, he was accompanied by the grandmother. The grandmother used to prepare the food. She used to get him ready. She used to accompany him to school. The school was just near the temple. So by the time the narrator studied and all about the subject matter. She read scriptures. She was happy with the teaching of religion in the village school. Contrary to that, when they were shifted to the city, there was no teaching of religion and God. There was only emphasis on Western language and science. The grandmother could not understand the Western science. She didn't believe in the English, I mean, literature. She believed in the Indian culture, and there was lack of religion and God in the teaching of the Western kind of education, and this made the grandmother unhappy. तो इतना सारा लिखने के बाद वो एक्सप्लेन कर पाया कि वाई शी वॉज अनहैप्पी विद द न्यू स्कूल। इसलिए वो लिख पाया क्योंकि उसके पास फ्रेज नहीं है। Unlike the village school, there was no teaching of religion and God in the Western type of education. At city school, there was more emphasis on English and science and less emphasis on religion and scripture. This made the grandmother unhappy. इतना छोटा सा आंसर्स के लिए पूरा पैराग्राफ लिख रहा, इसलिए कि उसको फ्रेज एक छोटा सा वर्ड अनलाइक दिमाग में नहीं, या कंट्ररी टू, तो ये सभी फ्रेज जो है यूज करना चाहिए। दैट इज व्हाट आई बिलीव। थैंक यू। इन द नेक्स्ट सीरीज वी विल टॉक मोर अबाउट ग्रामर। थैंक्स ए लॉट।